And we are back, and this song will never leave my head today, and my parents used to play this when I was a kid. Life is a grand ensemble performance, not a solo act. The spirit of collaboration is never more in evidence as the Florida Theatre and Theatre Jacksonville join forces to present a special in-concert production of the Broadway musical, I guess you know it by now, Mame. Joining me are several of the key players here. We've got award-winning Broadway film and TV performer Linda Purl, Jacksonville native Broadway performer Dorothy Bishop, Sarah Boone, Executive Director of Theatre Jax, and Numa Saisselin, President of the Florida Theatre. I'm sort of in awe here. I almost want to say right now, Numa, just kick it off here. I mean, I well know the Florida Theatre stage, and I can't believe what I'm seeing in the notes you're going to transform that place into.
So I landed in Jacksonville 12 years ago, and one of the first people I met was Sarah Boone here. And I mentioned to her I had this idea that one way the Florida Theatre could be involved in the local cultural community was to produce an in-concert version of a Broadway musical. And Sarah, with a little gleam in her eye, said, "Promise me you'll never do this with anybody but me." And here we are 12 years later, promise kept. It took a few years to get here. One of the reasons I was interested in doing this was because I thought it would be a great opportunity for us to be involved with the local performing community. Everybody knows the Florida Theatre is a great American concert hall, but we don't get too many opportunities to work with the local performing community. What we did not anticipate was that it was also a great opportunity for some people with deep Jacksonville roots who had migrated elsewhere to come back to town and work with us here in their hometown. And here we are.
And it's not just, first of all, the particulars. It's Saturday night
at 7:30, Sunday afternoon at 2 o'clock, floridatheater.com, 355 ARTS.
And it's mid-20th century New York City. Mame Dennis, an eccentric bohemian with wealthy friends. And this is not a standard Broadway production. This is a stage reading performance. Okay, I'm giving you your cues. What's a stage reading performance? What are we going to see?
You're going to walk into the beautiful Florida Theater that has been newly renovated. And on stage, you're going to see, I believe it's a 26-piece orchestra on stage. And behind it, a 20-something chorus. And in front, the principal players will be reading. Well, we won't be reading from the script, but the scripts are there. The folders are there for us to reference. And everyone is on stage. And this doesn't happen how often do you get a full orchestra anymore? You just don't. So
I do film productions, and everybody does a table read. You sit there and you have your script, but this is way further, deeper than that. And our two actors here, ever done anything like this? Yes, no, maybe?
Yes, I have. However, there's nothing like Mame. It's an extraordinary musical. It's Jerry Herman's score, and I think he loves singers. It's so friendly. He puts all the vowels and the consonants in just the right place. And the story is really about something. They are hit. The cast of characters is hit by the Depression, and they find their bootstraps and they find their joy, and they call on all the factors of resilience, and they emerge triumphantly into life. So it's a hugely uplifting show. And the orchestrations are, I think one of my main challenges in doing this is going to be able to get through it without crying. The strings come in, the horns come in, and you just rips your heart out. It's in the best possible way. It's an
And you're playing which character?
I'm doing Mame.
Okay.
and
At first I said, "Oh no, I'm not old enough to do it." And then I realized, "Oh yes, I am," because when Miss Lansbury originated the role, she was a good 20 years younger than I am now. Never mind. The thing is, there are ghosts in this. Angela did it. Lucille Ball did it. A bunch of, and you somehow, as you get your mind and your mouth and your spirit around these words and these songs, you feel those ghosts in the room of everyone whose patina is
Actually, there is a
this
ghost up in the
role.
balcony at the Florida Theatre. We're
Oh,
told.
good.
In costume or
Ish.
ish?
Yeah.
Yes.
Lots of splash. Lots of glitter.
I think one of the things that's so
Eyelashes.
special about this particular event is that it is a combination of people in Jacksonville with our guest artists. And, the thing about it is the phone calls that were made, pretty much everybody said, Yes, right off the bat. And Dorothy, I have known each other. We're
Yes.
both from
College
Jacksonville.
roommates.
Yes, and I called her up. I said, "How would you like to play Vera Charles?"
I
in
didn't even
Mame?
have to think about it. I'm like, yes,
Absolutely.
I will be there.
I have, if you want to call it this, acted in some film productions. How do you act but yet stay, I guess, are you in front of microphones? Or are you just orating with a boom mic on you? How do you stay in character yet act like you're doing a read?
Well,
Oh,
we're mic'd,
Yeah,
Okay.
so we
we're
don't have to
mic'd.
worry. Yeah, we
I
don't have
mean-
to worry about leaning into a standing microphone. We have the what are these called? Lavaliers or
The little lav booms,
Yeah.
yeah.
It's
Wi-
part of the
wireless
glory
mics.
of the Florida theaters that
Yeah.
it's a beautiful house with all the bells and whistles, and we're being seen to by the crew with just extraordinary care and expertise. But I tell you, the play, the book, and the score moves along like a house of fire. So it's just from the downbeat of the orchestra, you're just in it, and hopefully, the audience they're just going to have to fasten their seatbelts and take the ride with us.
Well, I've got to ask our actors. There is a notorious episode on Broadway with a certain famous singer, actress, who basically took a cell phone from an audience member because they were constantly
I was
texting.
gonna say name.
I'm looking the songs. We Need a Little Christmas, Bosom Buddies. If You Walked Into My Life, Mame. Are you going to be competing against an audience that's singing the same things you're singing? Both of, I mean, or do you want them to sort of, hey, join in the fun?
Oh, goodness. I don't know. I mean, we have, hopefully, I think, judging by the demographic of the ticket sales so far, it's a huge range. So there are people that probably grew up with this and people who are totally unfamiliar to Jerry Herman and the Mame score. So I think that's the other thing about the piece is that it appeals to, I mean, there's some very adult themes in it, and it's absolutely a family musical. I remember seeing it in the original production. I was 7 or 8 years old. And I mean, I remember it to this. I think it's probably, if I ever had a moment that said, that's what I want to do, it was sitting in the balcony of the Winter Garden, I guess, and thinking, yeah, this is.
Well, there's
is
nothing
it.
like a Broadway stage to be out there and on Broadway, to be out there watching the before and after show, to be in one of those houses. I did also as a kid get to see some things on Broadway thanks to my parents.
Nothing like it unless you're at the Florida Theater with that orchestra and that chorus
Exactly.
coming at you.
And actually, Numa, I made the comment, gee, there's an orchestra pit there, and I was corrected. The orchestra pit has been raised so that you have more stage. So orchestra is part of the production.
Yeah, the orchestra is on the stage, and we should talk about Joey.
Yes, right. Joey Chansey is our conductor, musical director. Joey grew up in Jacksonville. He's actually one of the kids that came through Theatre Jacksonville and has gone on to great things. He is a Broadway conductor, and he's come back in, and he's with us now, and he's quite wonderful, and we're so excited. I think it's so thrilling to be part of this entire team. And part of this show too is that I hope it's a discovery for people, because when we were talking about which shows to do, this came up, and I think Numa, we talked about it, and so many people, a lot of people didn't know the show. They're the younger generation, so they're going to come in, and there's so many stock events that happen in this that we know that people are going to see for the first time, and it's going to be like it's a brand new show. But with all of that lush orchestration under it, it is just going to be fabulous.
Well,
I'm
in
excited.
case you don't know, and I'm honored to be here. Linda Purl, Broadway credits: The Adventures of Tom Sawyer, Getting and Spending, Fonzie's Girlfriend, Andy Pfister in Happy Days, Pam Beasley's mother Helene in The Office, Ben Matlock's daughter Charlene on Matlock. My mother used to watch that all the
Okay.
time. And then Dorothy Bishop, Mame's best friend Vera Charles, a Jacksonville native. She's been on a Broadway national tour of Terrence McNally's masterclass opposite Faye Dunaway, and best known in New York City for a long-running cabaret hit, Dozen Divas. So for both of you to come back to Jacksonville to be on the only remaining theater palace that's left, that maybe you saw movies in back in the day, is it cool just to be here? And we are educated in this market. We have seen some of the great Broadway tours. So if you're a Broadway fan, maybe this is a little different place to see a Broadway play. So tell me, what it's like to be back back there on the stage versus in the audience?
I'm not a Jacksonville, although I feel sort of native. Sarah Kindly's brought me down a few times, but I tell you, yesterday afternoon we walked into that theater. I did for the first time, and it's just breathtaking. You just sort of feel your knees go. It's awe-inspiring, just the structure itself. But Dorothy, you're from here.
Yeah, but I have not performed in that theater, and I don't even know if I've been to the theater. I've seen it on the outside. I was definitely, it is so stunning. And when I sang my first number on that stage, I got a little choked up. I had to breathe because it was just so
Yeah.
beautiful and awe-inspiring. And
I did
know
a
this.
I did a spelling bee as a host on that stage and told the audience that Elvis had played there, and half the audience was like,
Yes,
"Really?"
Elvis.
And so that's some of the history right there. What are the challenges of doing this kind of production where you're not acting and wafting across the stage and remembering your marks?
It's fast.
Yeah,
I mean,
it's
I guess
very
we'll find
fast.
out on at the
We're
weekend. Right
figuring it
now,
out.
there's no time to sort of judge or be objective about it. It's just we're just in it, and the process is so much fun. And that's the thing that I feel very confident that sense of fun and joy and exuberance will translate to the audience, because it's just the music is unstoppable. The arrangements are unstoppable.
Mhm.
And Joey, as you were saying, you're Florida, Jacksonville native. He's fantastic. He's so chill. He's so calm, and he's pulling us all together and moving us forward. And we'll do the same once we have the orchestra.
So, being that it's such a different beast, why is this important to Northeast Florida? We see concerts there. We see plays in other facilities. This is bringing something different, I guess.
If you're a performer in Northeast Florida, how many times a year do you get to perform with a full orchestra? Never. How many times do you get to be on a stage the size of the Florida Theater? Never. So it's a chance for our best local performers, and Sarah's done a great job of recruiting them. It's a chance for our best performers to be on a stage with a live orchestra and show us their best work. It's a chance for the Florida Theater to work with them, which we don't often get the chance to do. As Linda said, it's a chance to introduce a new generation who might know Les Mis or Rent to a forerunner from the canon of musical theater. And it's just an opportunity to do something that's not happening in Northeast Florida right now. Nobody's doing this kind of production in concert. And ticket sales have been good so far. There are still a few left. FloridaTheater.com.
Yeah.
Just in case you didn't say it before.
Yeah.
And with a minute to go, I'm guessing working to a full house for you actors here. That's what you want, right?
You betcha.
Oh, it
Yeah, the
is.
more the merrier.
Yep.
Everybody come join us, y'all.
It's fun.
And will you take a cell phone away? No.
Absolutely not.
Will you-
I'll put money down that nobody's going to be on
Yeah.
their cell phone during this. Will.
Okay, that again, Mame is at the Florida Theater Saturday at 7:30 and Sunday at 2 p.m. And this is a different version of the famed Broadway musical and film. This is a stage reading with a full orchestra. I would say this might be a beast that should come back to prowl the Florida Theater again. Yes.
We're thinking about
Yes,
it.
we are. This
All
has
right.
gone very well, and we're hopeful that it turns into something on a regular basis.
Well, I want to thank you all for being here. Linda Purl, Dorothy Bishop, Sarah Boone, and Numa. After the break, we'll return.